Friends, good morning to all of you. Today we are going to study the poems My Grandmother's House by very famous and popular Indian writer Kamala Das. The titles of the poem is My Grandmother's House. It's very thought-provoking and which after reading the titles it gives us some memory of our relatives, my grandmother's house. Means here's the poet wanted to tell something else. He wanted to suggest. He wanted to tell some memories which he received, which he have been got or had been received from his grandmother's house. The first, before reading and before start to learn and analyze and comment and the study and thinking the poet, My Grandmother's House, first I introduce about the writers Kamala Das. Very popular and the famous and well-known poet, Indian writers. Kamala Das, feminist poet. Her name's Kamala Surya Das, born 1934 to 2009, was a major Indian poet who published most of her work under the name Kamala Das. Her grandfathers and her mothers were poets whose work was published in Malayalam. Known for her fight, and she was known for her forthrightness and direct voice, openness, frankness, boldness. Das grapples courageously with women's issues, including female sexuality. She is the feminist writer, and feminists raise the voice against the patriarchal systems. They raise the voice against the male dominations who exploit, suppress, and make them subjugated. The confessional elements in her works have invited comparisons with Sylvia Plath. Some of those themes include the hypocrisy of marital life. And numbers of his works themes include the hypocrisy of marital life and the constraints imposed by a patriarchal society. Her work is considered to be highly influential in Indian English poetry, and she was acclaimed as the mother of modern English Indian poetry. She was acclaimed the mother of modern English Indian poetry by the Times in 2009. So little bit information about the Kamala Das. Now about the poems, My Grandmother's House. The speaker of the poem described the grandmother's house, a place where she once was loved and was happy to live. But after her grandmother died, the house became cold and dark, no longer carrying the happiness it once had. Thus the speaker addresses the reader as darling, implying an intimate relationship. The final lines of the poem indicate that she is unhappy and disillusioned with her life and that she is eager for love. The poem is filled with a sense of discontent at the loss of love, signified by the grandmother's house now empty. It means that we can realize that Kamala Das is eager for love. She could not get the love which she got from her grandmothers. So, she is discontent and loss of love signified the grandmother's house now empty. Okay, anyway. This is the theme of the poem. The friends, before going to start the poem line by line, it is also important because when we think about the poet, when we think about the writers, writers, poem, dramatists, novelists, they come numbers of the backgrounds, and whatever they have experienced, whatever they had experienced in their lives, they try to write through the literatures. But understand, this is not the experience, or this is not the situation of each and every human being of the world. Another woman feels, another woman's face, another woman feel different situation. They got love, they got each and everything. This is the rare cases of the woman. And try to understand, this is not the situation of each and every woman of the Indian, and each and every woman of the world, and each and every woman of the another nations. Try to understand, this is the conditions of her. This was the condition of her. That's why she portrayed it through the writers. This is not the philosophical, this is not the universal poem. Try to understand. Now, I started to read line by lines, and we will test it, and we will understand the meaning of the lines. There is a house now far away where once I received love. There is a house now far away where once I received love. That woman died. Oh, in the first line, she says, there is a house now far away where once I received love. That woman died. Means she was received love from that woman. That woman means that her grandmothers. It means that through this poem, we come to know that nowadays family institutions is going to destroy. Family institutions is going to decay. The means in the family institutions is going to broken. In family institutions is there is going to clashes, and the crashes means the person is not able to get the satisfactions, love, compassion, benevolence through his family. This is the destroyed. This is an example of destroyed family. Means this is an example of 21st century modern India, 21st century's modern world. And that's, but at the ancient times she was received the love. There is a house now far away where once I received love, but now she is not able to receive the love and affections. That woman died. Anyway, the house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon's. And now she is going to describe the house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young. At that time I was too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. And now my blood is going to turn like the cool. It means I become very peaceful because I not able to get that types of the love and that types of the affections which I received from my grandmother's house. How often I think of going. Oh, next stanza. How often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just listen to the frozen ears. Means in that house there, that means in the grandmother's house, to peer through the blind eyes of windows. Peer means to look keenly or carefully at some things, or just listen to the frozen ears. Someone was carrying me, someone was looking me, someone was asking me about my problems, about my questions, about my sadness, about my all of that. But now no one is asking me, no one asking, and no one giving me the sympathy and all that. Behind, yes, there is to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just listen to the frozen air, or in wild despair pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie. But now all these things has passed away, and now the darkness has entered in my life. Darkness has entered in my house. Darkness enters in everywhere. It means that because nowadays The no one is caring that woman. Behind my bedroom door like a brooding. Means behind my bedroom door like a brooding. Means she is giving the imagination. Means his doers started to thinking seriously. Brood means to think deeply about something that makes one's unhappy. Negatively, because that things might be happens in her house, in with her himself, or in him, or in his sorry her family. Dare to peer through blind eyes of windows, or just listen to the frozen air, or in a wild despair pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie behind my bedroom door like a brooding dog. You cannot believe. You cannot believe, darlings. Here the darling words is used for here the speakers. It might be a speaker's husband. You cannot believe, darling. Can you? Door like a brooding dog. You cannot believe, darling. Can you? That I lived in such a house and was proud and loved. Because you are not giving that types of the love and affections and all that. Because I received a lot of loves and a lot of affections and a lot of things from my grandmothers, from my husband. Can you that I lived in such a house and a dog? You cannot believe, darling. Can you? That I lived in such a house and was proud and loved. Because when I was living with my grandmothers was very caring. Grandmothers which was caring, and I received a lot of loves and affections and all that things, because she was giving that types of the teachings, that types of the instructions. But that I'm not getting nowadays. And Lord, I who have lost, but now I lost all my that things, my way, and beg now at strangers' door too. Yes, strangers was means I wanted to receive that types of the love, that types of the affection which I received from my grandmothers. So I am begging love. She was begging for the love for strangers to strangers, because she lost everything. If that she is not able to get all that things from her family, she lost in her husband and love that. So now may we and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love. Means she is wandering here and there for the loves. Instead of was now I could. I wanted to suggest that one thing. Instead of wandering and instead of visiting the stranger's door for the love, if she visited and if he go toward the gods, and if he turns her loves toward the social reform and social work, then there is no need to say that, oh, give me the loves. Things about the Savitribai Phule and all that things. Sapkal and all the Megha Patkars, they are performing their roles. They are not attached in their family. They never says, my way and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love. They never say. They never say. Okay. Okay, anyway, but her, this is confessional poem. Anyway, at least in a small chain. At least means if I got the at least affection and love, so it is enough for me. So this is the very short and general and a simple and worldly meaning of the poems. Nothing is there, just it is. But through these poems, we come to know that such things and such incidents happens in society, in everywhere, and especially this happens in the modern 21st century, because this is an features and characteristics of a Kali Yuga in 21st modern Yuga and 21st modern society, because family institution is going to breaking. We can't do that. Okay. Anyway, but to these poems we come to know that these things happens, and those had experience, those is expressing. So this is a wise, and this is the this wise rates problems and her conditions. So it is a feminist poem, and it is especially a human poet. Okay, anyway, there are only 3 words which are difficult. So glossary is very simple and easy. We draw here first words. There is a house now far away where once I received love. That woman died. The house withdrew withdraw into silence. Withdraw means here to become reserved, quiet and caught, into silence. Next words, peer. That I was too young, silence, snakes more among books I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. How often I think of going there to peer through the blind eyes of windows, to look keenly or carefully at something peers. Brood, I mentions while reading that stanza, and darling here, the speaker's husband. Anyway, friends, this is a simple and very easy poem to understand, and it is in also Indian English language. Now, there are 2-3 important questions which will become for the examinations. The first questions: compare and contrast the speaker as a child with the speaker as adult. Okay, compare and contrast. I repeat it: the speaker as a child with the speaker as an adult. Next question: the poem is about growing up. Yes, is it right? The poem is about growing up. What things change in our lives when we grow up? Which thing changes in our lives when we grow up? Yes. Discuss the third question. Discuss the poet's reaction to growing up and going away from her ancestor house. And last question, examine the theme of love in this poem. And a short, you can write in 50 words answer of this question, that question. What does the house represent? Once again, I thanks for my listeners. If you like my video, if you like my YouTube channels, so please subscribe it and comment. Thank you very much.